Hi, this is Ashley Emma, and I have Alma Calabrese here today to talk about her Amish upbringing. And I have this will be posted on my Amish YouTube channel, and then I'll probably link it in my books too as well. So where did you grow up, or what Amish community did you grow up in?
Yes. Hi, Ashley. How are you?
Hi. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I just dove right into it. Oh yeah. We already
That's
like
okay.
talked a while. That's why we've been talking for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yes, I grew up in Northeast Ohio in a town, actually the main town is Middlefield, but I grew up in Parkman, Ohio, about 10 miles south of Middlefield.
Oh, okay. A lot of people tell me that the biggest Amish communities are in Ohio, actually. I've heard that. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's true.
Holmes County in Jaga County, Amish people. There's quite a few here too, so.
Oh, wow. Where do you live? Where do you live now? Do you still live around there?
Actually, in Orwell, Ohio, that's sort of northeast of Middlefield.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of close. A lot of
Oh,
people
yes.
tell me like they move really far away after.
Oh,
Um,
no. I still go to Middlefield a lot.
oh, good. Do you still talk to your family and your friends from that you
Oh,
grew up with?
yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So you weren't. And now, if I remember right, are you the one who told me you weren't shunned?
Yeah, I
Correct.
wasn't shunned,
Oh,
no.
that's good. So you left before you were baptized into the church,
Actually, I
or
was
you were?
baptized, but
Oh, that's right.
they're a little more lenient. Or some people will shun me, but most people won't.
Oh, that's
And like
interesting.
yeah, I mean, if I see him, I could go visit him anytime I want. Actually, we went to visit the old home place, and we were talking to the Amish neighbor guy, so they're fine with that.
Oh, that's really interesting. So it's not like the bishop is telling everyone they have to
Not
shun you.
talk
Like
to
some
me.
people just choose to shun you even though they don't have to.
Um, yeah, some people would
Yeah,
probably,
but
but
not most of
most
them.
people, like even my old aunts and stuff like that, they never shunned me. They always came to talk to me if they saw me or anything like that.
Oh, that's really good. That that's the only situation that I've heard of someone not getting shunned after they joined the church. I have never heard of that before. Like every book
Really?
you read that yeah, like at any time you read pretty much any Amish book, like I think in most of my books, at least someone gets shunned because a lot of people come and go and join and leave and so I've never heard of that before. And I feel like if I've wanted to put that in my book because I wanted to show like some communities are not as strict as others, but I don't want someone to be like that's not accurate. You would be the person would be shunned,
Oh,
but it is
yeah, yeah.
accurate.
No, Middlefield for the most part. I mean, even my Amish bishop, I would sit and talk with them.
Oh
You know,
wow.
when I had a brother that was the only one in our family that was Amish, stayed Amish, and he died in 2008. Um,
Oh.
but when I would go down to visit him, uh, the bishop was there, and he didn't have no problems at all talking to me or anything.
Wow. That how many siblings did you have? I want to make sure we're still
Altogether, I had have two brothers and four sisters. So my three sisters and I and my one brother, we all left.
Oh wow. So only one of
Not
you stayed.
yes, and he
Oh.
never got married, and he died of colon cancer in 2008. The poor guy.
Oh wow. Oh, I'm sorry. My dad had well, no. He had a cancer that they thought was colon cancer, but they actually removed it a few years ago. He's back
Yeah,
now, but yeah, I've heard that
that's
is like very dangerous. But
well, he was never one to go to the doctor. If he would have gone in a long time ago and had a colonoscopy, he would have been fine.
oh
But
wow,
he
yeah.
never went to the doctors. He didn't really believe in it. He was all
Mm-hmm.
for natural things.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people like around here that are like like my husband hasn't been to the doctor in like 15 years. And I'm like, you
I
should
know.
just go, like, just to make sure
I know.
everything's
You
fine.
better.
And that's not even like specifically an Amish thing. I think just a lot of people don't like to go to the doctor, but that
Well,
is.
my husband,
Oh, sorry. Go
he
ahead.
doesn't like going to the, yeah. No, my
Yeah.
husband doesn't like going to doctors either.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, like, who likes going to the doctor? Uh,
I know.
so that was another thing. Like, I've heard different things about. Do where you grew up? Did they have like health insurance, or did they go to the doctor often, or no?
Um, yes, they're pretty good about going to doctors.
Oh, good.
And they do, a lot of the Amish guys in Middlefield work in factories, so they do have health insurance through the
Oh.
work.
Hmm.
But also, they do have a called Amish Aid, where they help each other. They have to pay so much every month, just like a regular health insurance, but it goes into the Amish, um, like a fund for the Amish people.
Oh, like medical sharing. That's like what we have.
Yeah,
That's kind of
yeah,
like Samaritan Ministries or Samaritan's Purse. You all pay into like one big pot, and then whoever needs it gets like.
yeah,
It's kind of confusing,
yeah.
but
Then
oh,
it
so
gets,
it's not
yeah.
technically health insurance, but oh, so that's really interesting because I've heard different things, and like where I stayed in Unity, I didn't think to ask them that because I went like before I needed health insurance, and I was like 19, so
Oh, so
I
you
don't
didn't think
actually.
about it. Yeah.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, and like so, it's something I've never really gotten to ask. But I've heard different things. Like I've heard some of them don't believe in that, and they don't go unless they really need to go. Like they try to avoid it. And then I've heard some that do. One of my clients is an eye doctor in
Uh-huh.
uh, where is Green Bay? Is that in Ohio? Green
Uh,
Green Bay,
Green Bay.
Wisconsin. No, Wisconsin. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
I totally
Yeah.
spaced it. He works in
I know,
Wisconsin.
I was trying to
I'm
do
like,
it sounded familiar.
I'm like, yeah, it sounds familiar. I don't know. I'm like failed geography. um, so yeah, he works in Wisconsin near Green Bay, and he gets a lot of Amish eye patients. Like he's an
Oh,
optometrist.
huh?
Is it optometrist? How do you say that? He's an eye doctor,
I think
and
it is.
so
Yeah.
he tells me that all the time, and he'll always email me and say, "Hey, I had an Amish patient today, and they said this," and I'm like, "That's interesting because, I mean, I haven't been to the eye doctor since I was like 5, so that's
Oh,
interesting that
boy.
they go often. Yeah, so that's just you never know. I hear so many different things. People will sometimes comment on my Facebook ads for my Amish books and
Uh-huh.
say like, "Oh, this isn't accurate about your book," or like that's why I want to put that in
Well,
the book where. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
well, each community, Amish community has different ideas of what
Hmm.
they're not all the same.
Yeah.
I mean, some are even more liberal than what Middlefield is.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did talk to. I was in Lancaster for Christmas. We go every Christmas to visit relatives. Well, not Lancaster. We go to Lidditz, which is right near
Yeah.
there, 10 minutes away. And I went on an Amish buggy ride, which I've never done anything Amish that's like tourist related. I've always like
Uh-huh.
gone to see people and like go to their house or something like that.
Yeah.
Like a few years ago, we went to an Amish family's house for dinner, but like I've never done a tourist attraction. So I was, my husband and aunts and uncles had the kids, and I was like, I'm just gonna go put something in the GPS and go. So I went to this place called Aaron and Jessica's Buggy Rides, and it's near the Amish Experience, like right next door, and it's in
Uh-huh.
no, what's it called? Ronks, Pennsylvania. It's like a half hour from where we stayed. And I talked
Yeah.
to the driver and I asked him like all these questions like do you wear buttons? And he said they used to, but they don't anymore. And he said
Oh,
that a lot.
really?
Yeah, that's what he said. It's changed over the past 20 years. And then he said a lot of the Amish are getting cell phones, and the bishop does not like that, and that they have to have twice a year meetings. And someone else who has a lot of Amish friends just told me a lot of the Amish she knows have cell phones now, and they just keep it secret. And so,
Oh,
like,
yeah, they do.
yeah, it's so sometimes things will happen in my book, and someone will say, "Well, an Amish person wouldn't do that," And I always say, well, how would you know? They might do it and not tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like
Better
so,
ask that.
yeah, like someone in my book, their sister lives the Amish, and she goes and visits her, and they write letters. Well, she's technically shunned, and someone's like, "Well, they wouldn't do that because they're shunned." I'm like, "They can write letters in secret, and no one would know." And then she said, "I think the bishop would check her mail," and I'm like, "That's illegal.
Oh.
That's not gonna
I
happen."
don't think so.
I don't think that would happen anyway. I think that's illegal. But yeah, so you never know. I get the weirdest reviews, and like people are always saying, "This is right, that's not right," and I always try to remind them each place is different. Because where I went in Maine, they do things a little differently than other places that I've heard of. Like very different from Pennsylvania. Like they have
Uh-huh.
solar panels. Although in Pennsylvania, they did. Some people had solar panels. Um, like they had buttons when I first got there. The man who I first saw had buttons, and so I figured, oh, he's not Amish, and I just started like saying, oh, I'm so nervous. I hope they like me, and what if I offend them? And then I'm like, wait, are you Amish? And he said yes, and I was very embarrassed. So,
That's
I
funny.
just figured, oh, he's wearing. I had just read in a book like they don't wear buttons, so he had like a button-down shirt, and I just was like, oh, he must not be Amish. So what did
Yeah.
I know? Yeah. So
Well,
did you wear
my
buttons?
sister.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go
Go ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering
I,
because you said something about the buttons that you wear
uh,
buttons.
my sister and I were just talking about that, how silly it is in Middlefield, Ohio. The men are allowed to wear buttons, but the women have to have their dresses with pins. And,
Oh.
they're the ones that hold the baby, straight pins. Is how they
Oh.
put their clothes together. And, you know, we think that's so silly that they still make the women have pins
Yeah. How
to
does
hold
that
their clothes
stay?
together.
Like not a
Well,
safety pin. It's like one pin, right? It's like a
yeah,
line.
yeah,
Okay.
just
How
one
does
pin.
like
But I don't know. No, I have been gone for 33 years, so I never really paid attention when I was close by the Amish people. I think a lot of them will use safety pins,
that's fine.
but when I was still Amish, we used regular straight pins to hold our clothes together.
I don't know how it
So
stays. Yeah. That's what they do in Maine, and I'm
it
like,
was, it,
I don't understand how does it not slide out? Like the pin doesn't fall off. It just stays?
uh, well, actually, yeah, it's sort of a knack. You learn how to do it so it doesn't come undone or anything like that. It's just, I
Oh.
don't know how to explain it, but we had a way of doing it that it wouldn't. I don't think I ever remember having a pin come out of my
Oh, good.
dress,
Oh my
or anything like that. Wouldn't that be awful?
I don't know. Like, I feel like someone could walk by and just like yank on your shirt and
Well,
it would fall off or something. Like, when I was in high school, as a joke, I was wearing, it was chapel day, and I was wearing this skirt that was like way too big for me. So I put like a safety pin to like make it
uh-huh.
smaller so it fit.
Well,
And somebody walked by and as a joke, just kind of like one of the girls, it was just a girl, just kind of like was like, hey, and yanked on my skirt. And it and I'm like,
oh
I
no.
don't understand how a pin can hold a whole dress together. It was like the worst moment of my life. It was hilarious. I was like 16. Yeah, so I would not trust that. I mean, having a whole dress pinned together. And that was a safety pin, not a straight pin. So
Yeah.
I don't understand. But that's so
Well,
funny.
we use about 3 in the front where you put it together, and then 2 on the side,
Oh,
straight pins.
yeah, and some
So,
go up here, right? And then like at the
yeah.
square, like at the waist. I've seen it. Like when I was staying with them, I saw the dresses and like the different pins, and I just was like, I don't know how they put that on. It must take forever to get dressed. Like does it, or maybe they just do it so often that they can just do it
Well,
quickly. No.
I think so. I think you're so used to it that you don't even think anything of it when you do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sort of.
That's so funny. Yeah. So and then the different caps are different too. Like in Lancaster, they're
Oh yeah.
heart shaped, right? And in Maine, they're round.
Uh-huh.
Oh, another funny thing recently, for my newest book's cover, the main character on the front is holding the cap in her hand, and it's a
Uh-huh.
round back, and that's how they
Okay.
have them in Maine. And then apparently the buggy in the background is one that's specifically to Lancaster County. That's what
Oh,
someone told
okay.
me. I don't know if that's true,
Is
but
that,
to
was it a
me,
different color?
it's
Like a rust
black.
color or something?
No,
Oh, black.
it was
Okay.
black, and that's exactly how they looked in Maine. So I mean, my cover designer did it and showed it to me, and I was like, perfect. That's how
Yeah.
it looked. And I sent her. Actually, it was kind of complicated. We couldn't find a good image of a cap online that wasn't copyrighted. So I
Uh-huh.
had to buy a cap online from Amazon. Actually, there's this company called the Amish Clothesline, and they make Amish clothing and caps
Oh,
and the
okay.
hats,
Okay.
like real, authentic Amish clothing. And I bought one from her, and then we took photographs of it with my sister's nice camera, and I had to email it to my cover designer, and she photoshopped it in. So it was really
Oh,
complicated.
yeah,
And
that's
it's
a
a
good
real,
idea.
yeah, a real cap. And someone said to me, they saw the cover and they said, that cap is not what they have in Lancaster, but the buggy is specifically a Lancaster buggy. And I'm like, well, it's set in Maine, and that's definitely the cap that they had, and that's definitely the buggy looked the same in Maine. So I'm like, it doesn't mean just because it's just in Lancaster, they can have ones that look just like that in other places, but with a different
Oh,
type
yeah.
of style cap, or So it's just I feel like people get really nitpicky sometimes, and I'm like, hey, that's
I
how
was
it looked.
saying,
Yeah,
really, what does it matter?
yeah, and that's exactly. I mean, I'm just the what I'm familiar with is what's in Maine, and then I've been to Lancaster so many times, but it's I don't make it look like it's in Lancaster because it's a different look. It's like a different style. Like even their dresses were different, so I try to make it look
Oh,
more like
yeah.
the Maine ones. But who's to like how many of my readers have been to the Amish community in Maine? Like they wouldn't know unless they go there what it looks
Yeah.
like. But I always just remind people it's always different no matter where you go. It's one thing is not right or wrong. They have different rules. Like some are really
Yeah,
like laid back
definitely.
and some are not. Yeah, yeah. Where I went, it seemed pretty laid back. Everyone was really really friendly. They didn't know me at all, and they let me stay with them for a week. And they knew I was writing Amish books, and I used some of their
That's what my
names.
one
Yeah.
sister said. They
Oh yeah.
were really surprised, that somebody, Amish person from Maine or wherever, would let somebody stay there. So
Mm.
that was really nice of them.
Yeah, and I don't know if any like different areas would do that. Because people, one of the questions on here on Facebook that because I posted, I said, "What questions do you have for someone who grew up Amish?" Someone said, "Would they let someone come live with them?" And I'm like, "It depends on the family, really, because
Yeah.
I don't know if someone in I mean, I think I could probably find someone in Lancaster or like Ohio who would take me, but it depends. I mean, I wouldn't want someone to come stay with me for a week if I didn't know them, and that's just me. But
Yeah.
because I'm like very cautious, but I called them and they had never met me, and they said, "Sure, you can come up for the weekend." And then after that, the man who I stayed with, his sister invited me back for a whole week after she met me. So
Uh-huh.
once they met me and got to know me, I went back for a longer time. But yeah, they were just like really, really friendly. I was surprised because most people I know I don't think would have done that. So,
Yes.
but they're. It just depends on who you ask. And at the time, I had no idea there were Amish in my state. I thought that they were all in Lancaster. I think a lot of people think that too. But they're all
Uh-huh.
over. Yeah, they're all
Actually,
over.
oh, there are in quite a few states in the United States, and there's even a lot in Canada.
Oh yeah, I have heard that there's a lot in Canada. There is a place where I want to go in northern Maine. It's really close to Canada. It's called Smyrna. That's an even bigger Amish community than where I went. That's the one
Oh, okay.
that like was first, and then they sent people down to make the one in Unity where I went. So that one's smaller, but it like they are all from Smyrna and then they came down. So like they try to make new communities, I think. I don't know.
Oh, they do.
That's what they told me. Yeah, and then I've seen a few families like near where I live, like 20 minutes away. I don't know if it's just a few or a whole community. I don't think there's a whole community. I think it's just a few families, but yeah, they're pretty spread out. I was really surprised. Um, And then my parents have a lake house in Heartland, Maine, which is like maybe a half hour from Unity. And there's a whole bunch of families right there. But it's not
Oh,
a
okay.
community, but there's a whole street where you see buggies and maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe 10 families. I'm not sure. And I've talked to them. I stopped when they have a farm stand and I pulled over and we talked to them. And I could just tell by talking to them, they're very different from the ones in Unity, which is a half hour away. Like they
Oh
don't,
boy.
like, I don't think they had running water because they didn't shower. They were totally barefoot. A lot of their teeth were missing. Very, very different from where I went, where they had
Wow.
showers and they were like always clean and like, it's totally different. So I was surprised. I've never met Amish like that. I was like, wow, okay, they
Oh,
probably
that
don't
is
have showers.
different.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
it's one family.
it could just be, and that is the only
Yeah.
family I talked to. It could just be that one family. I have no idea. But they just seemed really different than the ones I talked to or met before. But yeah. So you grew up in Ohio, and that's an interesting story. And then so you said you're married, right? Did you meet your
Yes.
husband after or before you left?
Um, actually, before I left.
Oh, really? But
Yeah, I was Amish when I met him.
oh, okay. Was he Amish too, or not?
Oh no, he never was Amish.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I met him at a bar in Middlefield.
Oh, well. Was he why you left, or were you planning on leaving already?
Well, a lot of times when my friends and I would go on vacation, we weren't Amish during the vacation, while we were on vacation.
Yeah.
When we went to Florida or Pennsylvania, we would go camping for a whole week, and we usually weren't Amish then.
Oh,
We always
okay.
had, that we changed into.
Yeah, yeah. And then, where you grew up, do they do Roomspringa? I don't know if I'm saying it correctly.
Yes,
They
yes,
do.
room. Yeah.
Okay, because I don't know. I have heard so many things about this. The man I talked to in Lancaster said, "Oh wait, was it him? Maybe it wasn't him. I can't remember. But somebody Amish told me recently that's a myth. It's not a real thing anymore." And I'm like,
Oh,
wow.
well,
I was shocked. That's not true, right?
I don't think it's true. Now,
Okay.
uh, don't get me wrong. I haven't been really in the Amish community to really be,
Yeah.
really, but for 34 years. But as far as I know, they still do that. I thought
I think
so.
they do too. I think maybe some don't anymore. In Unity, they'd never done it. They knew what it was, but they
Oh,
said nobody's ever wanted to go, so we haven't done. No one's ever gone yet. Which is funny because in my books, it's a common thing and it's set there.
yeah.
But it's just because a lot of places I think I still do it. I've just like other people I've interviewed have told me that they did it when they were growing up and they think they still do it.
Oh, yeah.
Where
I
which
did when.
yeah, I don't know
Well,
if
I
it's
guess that's sort of why when we went on vacation, if we were gone for quite a while or whatever, is
mm,
why that was, I guess, more or less called our room for when
right.
we weren't dressed Amish.
And you went multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
You could just go. Wow. I always thought it was one time and that's it. Like maybe like I don't know a year. I don't know. Like is there a set amount of time or no?
Well, I guess what we did is we sort of hit it, but uh, we went quite maybe once or twice a year that we would go on vacation somewhere and then we wouldn't be dressed in Amish clothes.
Oh
But
wow.
but people didn't really know that, and I did this even after I was baptized Amish.
Mm-hmm.
So I was I guess a rebel.
That's different. That is different too, because I usually hear after you join the church, you don't go on that anymore. But that's interesting. Like, would you tell people you were doing something else, like visiting a family or?
No, actually, we would like if we went to Cook's Forest in Pennsylvania for a week for camping. They would know we're going camping, but they didn't know what we were doing. Or like
Oh.
when we went to Florida, there's a big Amish settlement in Pinecraft, Florida, and that's where we would go visit
Oh,
and stay.
okay.
Yeah,
I have heard
yeah.
there are a lot of Amish in Florida, which is kind of like surprising. I didn't know that. Um, that is so interesting. So your experience is really different than what I've heard. Like the people I've interviewed. The 3 people I interviewed, 2 out of 3 of them had it was like a very, very strict community. One of them I would say was more like a cult, and it was like they called it Amish, but it wasn't. It was very not biblical. It was just things I'd never heard of before. Like, and another person I know had that experience, but for the most part, I feel like they're really friendly and more laid back for the most part. But
oh yes, there are a lot. And now there are some rules that the Amish church has, or I don't know how they are now. They're a little different because my bishop, even at my mom's funeral, the things he preached, I almost fell off the bench because I was so shocked. It's totally different from when I left what he preached then.
So
it was more. Well, he said it's not what the clothes you wear that get you to heaven, it's what's in your heart.
Good.
Yeah, I almost fell off the bench because I remember the last time I went to a council meeting, he was one that said that if you don't want to obey these rules, that more or less you're going to hell. Not just personally, but to the whole church.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when he said that at my mom's funeral, it just blew my mind. So that's how he changed over the years.
Wow. That is really, that's great, first of all. But I've heard different things about that. Like there's this Facebook group I'm in called, I think it's called Ex-Amish, Ex-Mennonites. People who have left and they talk. And some people like me who have never been Amish are in there, but we like to like ask questions. And I saw someone posting saying that their bishop said that that's the only way to get to heaven was to dress like that and not have a car. And I don't know, like where I went in Unity, I did not get that impression. I think they just chose to live that way. I don't think
chose to live that way.
Yeah, I don't think they would think they would go to hell if they didn't dress that way. Like with me, I was surprised when I showed up in like a long dress just to blend in. I didn't want to like show up in jeans like I normally would. But they told me, they said it's fine if you want to wear your jeans or whatever you normally wear, and you don't have to cover your hair. They're like, we really don't care either way. And so that was interesting because they said we don't expect you to follow our rules if you're not Amish, obviously. But so that's why I got the impression like it doesn't matter if you're not wearing what we wear. They didn't say like, oh, you're going to go to hell if you don't wear a long dress. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't say it, but I did not get that impression. So I don't know.
Well, that's good. That's good. This was 30, like 34 years ago. And that's how strict they were. And even 34 years ago, when I first left, my mom wouldn't eat with me. But then as time went on, then she did eat, at the same table as me,
Oh, yeah.
And I know some Middlefield Amish too, they won't take anything out of your hands if you had joined the church and left. Like I was working. Go ahead.
Oh, so I was going to ask, like, or do business with you, right?
Yeah. Because I did work at my niece's, well, actually it was her dad's gas station, and I was working there, and one of my old Amish friends came in, and he handed me the money, but when I went to give his change back, he wouldn't take it from my hand. I had to put it on the counter.
Oh.
Yeah, it's sort of strange.
Maybe I have heard of that. It sounds kind of familiar. Like I've heard shunning, different definitions of shunning. Like some people have told me shunning means they can't talk to you at all. They just ignore you. And then some people have said, it's okay, you can talk to them, but they just won't sit at the same table as you. So I don't know. Like I've heard different. I think it depends on where you go. I just realized my laptop's going to die. I just got to go grab my charger real quick.
Okay,
so I'll be right back. It's just upstairs. I should have brought it down.
Yeah. Okay. Oops, don't forget your headphones.
I knew that was gonna happen. I went upstairs and all the kids were like, "Mama!" I'm like, "I'm not staying."
I know. I was gonna say.
Did you hear that? I got up and they're like, "Oh, she's back," because I've been down here for like 2 hours. That's why. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, the different types of shunning. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Like, all that movie, The Shunning. Like just from different books. I don't know if you've ever heard of that Beverly Lewis's
I
movie. It just seemed
I
like
don't think I've
no,
seen it.
that's a good movie. That's like
Okay.
the first Amish movie I ever saw. I'm pretty sure was that. So that was like my first impression of the Amish was like, oh, they shun people, but that's not really like what
Yeah.
they're about. It's just one of the rules, and not even everyone does it apparently. Like I think in Unity they had never shunned anybody. No one had ever left though, so I don't know if they would.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's kind of a smaller one, so like a lot of the questions I couldn't really ask because it's such a new small community. Like no one had ever left, no one had ever gone to Rumspringa, because it was like 75 people at the time. That was
Oh,
almost
that's
yeah, that was 10 years ago. Wait a minute. 9 years. I haven't been back in 9 years. It's been a long time. I went for a quick visit like 6 years ago, but I haven't stayed there a long time in almost 9 years. And I need to go back so I can update my photos because some are kind of blurry. And I just want to see them. But I would like to ask them now that I'm sure they're bigger at this point. They have so many kids. And I think more people come down from Smyrna. So that's just really interesting about how like you weren't shunned. And so your mom, it sounds like at first she shunned you, but then she came around and then you were on good terms after.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I mean, she talked to me and everything right from the start, but I would say for about 6 months she didn't sit at the same table as I did.
Oh, wow. So,
but then after that, she, if we went out to a restaurant, all of us to eat, she sat at the same table as us,
Oh, good.
So,
yeah. Oh, wow, that's good. You had like a really positive experience. Sounds like so that's good for a change because I hope like I want to show people that it's not as negative as they think. I think a lot of people have, and like it depends on who you talk to. Some people have a very negative impression of the Amish, and then some people like put them up on a pedestal and think they're like perfect. So it just depends on who you ask. A lot of my readers, I think, just love their way of life and how like simple it is, and like without all the distractions of the world, they just love that, and that's what I love about it. And I try to show more like the positive side of it.
Well, so. I do. That's one thing I can say is I'll never regret my Amish upbringing because it was a very fun time. I mean, we didn't have TV, so we made our own fun, and just all the games we used to play, we were outside. Oh my goodness. I remember my mom always saying you can't go barefoot in the summertime until you see a June bug. Then you're allowed to go barefoot.
Oh, that's funny. I always went barefoot as a kid. Always. In the summer.
Oh, we always had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't, sit around or do anything, and winter times we would play games and card games and stuff. And I had an old Uncle Wiggly game that we played.
I've never heard of that. That sounds funny.
Yeah, if you ever look it up, it's a very, very old game.
Like a board game?
It's like it's a board game.
Oh, I love board games. We play a lot of board games.
Yeah.
That sounds like about right. Like when I went in the fall, I think, and we went outside a lot. We were like jumping rope and just running around outside in the garden and the greenhouse, and then we'd go inside, and I taught them a lot of games. I taught them a clothespin game where you put clothespins. Everyone gets one clothespin, and if you say, you pick a word you're not allowed to say, and then if you say the word, you take someone's clothespin, and whoever has the most clothespins wins. Like fun things like that.
At the end,
we played like Pictionary, like not actual Pictionary, but we would draw pictures and guess, and like do fold up frogs, like kind of like origami. Those little frogs.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just taught them
Okay.
a bunch of things. They let me teach them dance at their schoolhouse, which was like very surprising to me. They let me teach
Oh,
them
wow.
and like a few art projects. But yeah, I think a lot of the Amish are against dancing, but they said they're fine with it, but they just don't like couples dancing. So
Oh,
they let me
okay.
teach the kids. We did like I remember I taught them jumping jacks and they didn't know what that was. And I was like, that's such a basic.
Oh,
Mostly everyone, I feel like, knows. They didn't know what a jumping jack was. They were laughing. Oh, it was so funny. But yeah, so some things that we did was surprising. I didn't think that they would before. Oh, and we drew pictures of each other, which
huh?
I didn't think they would allow because they don't like to take photographs of each other. So I didn't think they would want us to
Yeah.
draw them, but they're fine with it. I don't know why, but that's so interesting how that happened. But yeah, so maybe I'll ask you some of these questions. Unless
Okay.
is there
Go
like
ahead.
anything else that you can think of that you want to like any stories or anything that you can think
Um, I can't remember.
of? You probably will, like as I ask you the question, like because
Okay,
there's
could
some
be.
really
Yeah.
interesting ones here. Um, Let me just see like what I have not asked yet. Oh, someone said, Carolyn asked, how do you stay cool in the hot weather, especially when canning? Or how did you stay cool?
Oh,
Like without AC?
well, you really sweat like crazy.
Yeah.
but but the Amish people, that's about the only thing we could do is well, of course, we were always barefooted, but uh, we'd have, like our windows open and stuff, but you did really sweat a lot. Now, in the last, I don't know how many years, maybe the last 15, 20, they are allowed to have generators with fans now in Middlefield. This is in Middlefield.
Really? Wow.
Allowed to have fans. So that's another way they've changed since I was young.
Oh, I
And
can't imagine summer without AC, let alone
oh,
fan.
I know.
I don't know how. I can't sleep if I get hot. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Wow.
Do know. I remember one night when I was still living at home, Amish, I was so terrible hot that I went downstairs, turned the cold water on in the bathtub, and put my feet in it just to cool off.
Oh,
Oh, I remember how it felt good.
yeah. So you had running water, like you had
Oh yes.
showers and toilets. Yeah, I think a lot of
Oh yes.
people are surprised by that. Like when we went, we expected an outhouse. We had no idea. We brought our own toilet paper. Like we didn't think we were getting shower. We had no idea. I'm like, I don't know. So I just did.
Yeah,
But
very, very. Don't know what to think.
oh yeah, I mean back then I knew zero. I mean that's why I went. I wanted to learn about them, and I didn't have a clue what to expect. But so that is so funny. And does it get like in the winter you have the wood stove, so that heats most of the house, right?
Oh
So
yes, yes.
you don't really need heat.
That does keep it really warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I have stayed at a friend's house and where the upstairs wasn't heated except they had little kerosene heaters in each room. So sometimes it got very, very cold upstairs.
Oh wow. What is that? Kind of like a space heater, but with kerosene?
It's like but it uses kerosene oil.
Oh, I have never heard of that. Is it kind of like
Yeah.
a kerosene lantern but bigger? Like
Oh
bigger?
yes, a lot bigger.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
probably about
Like a
2.5 feet high
Mhm.
and about a foot and a half round in diameter.
Oh wow, it sounds like my space heater, like that I have right here. So
Yeah.
you just light it
Well,
with
it
kerosene.
really heats up the room, upstairs really good.
Did it have like wood inside of it? No. You
No, it's like an oil lamp. It has the wick and everything, and you have to light it. But then it's got the oil underneath in the reservoir underneath, and it burns it.
Oh,
then, like an
wow.
oil lamp. But it's like basically like a big oil lamp is what it
Yeah.
is.
That is really interesting. Do you happen to know? So, when you were living there, did they use kerosene lanterns? Like the regular size ones?
Yeah,
Do you know if they
yeah.
still use those?
Yes, as far as I know,
Oh,
they
really?
do.
Oh, okay.
And
Hmm.
now most of them will use gas lanterns, which they're brighter, a lot
Oh,
brighter than the kerosene. But now maybe just to get up in the middle of the night to do something, they'll probably just light a kerosene lamp.
oh, okay. That is interesting. In Maine, they said they used to use them, and now they use these little like stand-up battery. They're like this big. Um, it's almost like
Oh,
a flashlight, but it's like a
okay.
little battery lantern. And they had one
Uh-huh.
outlet in the basement to charge the batteries. So I was able to charge my phone,
Oh,
which is kind of funny. But
oh, that's cute. I
I
like
had no
that.
idea. I mean, I thought I wasn't going to talk to anyone all week, but um, yeah, they said it was too much of a fire hazard, and so actually in my books there's like a flashback of 20 years ago, and it said they were using
Huh?
kerosene lanterns, but in present day they don't anymore. So I guess it depends where you go. I don't know about in Lancaster or any other place. I don't know what they use. I should find out, but I just figured nobody did anymore. That's interesting. So they do still use it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
As far as I know, now I haven't been in an Amish home for a lot, not since my mother died, and I don't, or actually I should say since my uncle died. That was a couple years ago. But of course the funeral was during the day, and when we were in his house, I don't think I really paid attention.
Oh
But
okay.
yeah, I'm almost sure they still use the kerosene and the gas lanterns.
Wow.
Although I think they are dangerous, especially the gas scares me.
I've never heard of that. Is it similar to like? Does it have fire in it, or you just light it?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh, it does.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's like you have to pump it up so it gets pressure in the gas,
Mm.
and then, um, well, I don't know. Have you ever heard of if you've gone camping a Coleman lantern?
Yeah, yeah. Like a
Oh
little,
yeah,
right?
that's
Like a mini.
gas lantern.
Oops. Yeah.
Gas lantern.
Yeah. Oh, is that
Yeah,
what that is? I,
yeah.
I'm
They
clueless.
use.
I have been camping maybe once, and I hated it. So
Oh,
hated it so much. Growing up, we had a lake house, so that's where we would go every summer. I wasn't used to
oh
camping.
yes, that was wonderful.
Yeah, we never needed
Yeah.
like land. Yeah, so that was a different experience. But I always just had flashlights. I never actually bought like a lantern. Like when we went camping, I would just bring a flashlight. So I'm not that familiar with them. But I bet a lot of people watching this know what you mean. Just not me. But yeah, that is really interesting. So wow, I thought like maybe they were outdated and no one used them. I wasn't sure. Um, Let me see. There's so many good ones on here. Oh, someone answered the question on here. That's interesting. She said, someone else who grew up Amish in the group said, "We didn't stay cool in the summer during canning season, and I'm not Amish, but AC was something most homes didn't have and some don't have today." I don't know why she says. I thought maybe she was Amish. Maybe she knows people who are Amish. I'm not sure. Um,
Oh, well, probably maybe because like when I was younger, even a lot of my sisters that weren't Amish, they didn't have air conditioning or anything.
oh, maybe she grew up
Maybe,
Amish. That might be it. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, someone said. Now I'm not sure. When I was in Maine, when I was in Unity, I asked them if they celebrated Christmas, and I can't remember what they said. I remember for birthdays they said it wasn't a big deal. They just did like a cake, and that's it. Not really any presents. But did you celebrate Christmas?
Oh yes,
Oh,
we
really?
always celebrated Christmas, and now my mother never decorated or anything, but that's one thing she was very strict about was making sure we had little presents.
Oh.
And her thing was she would make all kinds of homemade homemade candy,
Hmm.
and that we would each get a box with different candy that she made, and then different kinds of fruits, like oranges, grapes, all kinds of different fruits she would specially buy for Christmas.
Wow.
And we all each had our own little big box, like a big shoebox of stuff.
Oh
And
wow.
one thing my mother did that was really interesting, and I wish I still had it to this day, but I don't know what happened, is one year she made other people would buy me dolls. I
Oh.
even had a Shirley Temple doll. And but my mom would go and make little dresses and robes and stuff like that for my dolls for
Oh.
Christmas.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
My mom did that. I would do that sometimes. I wasn't good at sewing, but I
Yeah.
tried. So you did like, you did presents and maybe like not all the traditions. Like, did you do like a Christmas tree or the stockings or
No, we didn't do anything like that.
mm.
Now, once I got older, and my family, brothers and sisters would all come down for, or my one brother and my sisters and their families would come down for Christmas dinner. I started decorating the table,
Oh yeah.
for like little candles and little poinsettia things and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I would decorate the table.
So you weren't your mom wasn't against decorating. Maybe she just didn't do
Oh
it.
no,
Oh, okay.
no.
Oh, okay. That's so interesting.
Well, actually, they're not really supposed to decorate, but there are lots of Amish people that do a little bit here and there.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't ever get a tree, but they'll do a little Christmas decorations, in different spots.
Yeah.
So.
No Christmas lights, right? No,
No,
you didn't have electricity, right? I'm assuming. No.
no, we didn't have electricity.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I've like heard of that rarely that New Order had electricity, but like I mean,
Oh yes.
where I went, they had the one outlet, but it was solar panels, not electricity. But oh my goodness, this is a funny question. Someone said, which is harder to milk, a cow or a goat? I don't know if you
Oh
had
my.
goats, but
I guess I wasn't a typical Amish farm girl because I never did either one of them.
oh really? Well, I think is it
Yes.
true that it's mostly the men who go out and milk the cows? I don't know. I've heard
Yes.
both ways.
No, I had friends that would go and help milk cows and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But and my father raised pigs, but I don't know. I never really did anything like that.
Oh, okay. That's
I think it was always my brothers that did.
yeah. Like the family I stayed with, it was the older boys would do that, but maybe it was that one family because they had older boys. That might be why. I don't know, but I wasn't sure if it was like a rule or so. I don't know. That's just how they did it. It could depend on the family.
Yeah.
Someone said, would you like to be able to have more schooling? Now, I think this is more for someone who is still Amish, but so you probably went to school to 8th grade, right? And then
Right.
and then did you ever
And then
like do anything after that after you left or
yes, I did get my GED,
mm-hmm.
and I would have loved to have gone. I love school. I wanted to go on to school, but I knew I wasn't allowed to. And now, there are even some Amish men in Middlefield that have gone and gotten their GEDs.
Oh wow.
Where they're, I don't really know who or anything, but this one girl Amish girl had to get her GED for some kind of work she was doing. So her father went with her and got it at the same time.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So they didn't get in trouble, is it just like
Martha, no, they didn't. No.
oh wow. I was wondering about that because I know like traditionally they do go till 8th grade, but I was wondering if someone would maybe get in trouble if they did more. But I don't know. I haven't really asked anybody that. So that's
Yeah, the tradition is to stop at the eighth grade.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they would get in trouble if they went on to high school or not.
Right. maybe, and again, it probably depends on where.
Yeah, and yeah.
Now, the only people I talked to about that when I was in Unity, I would ask the teenage girls about that, and pretty much they all would tell me they didn't really want to go past eighth grade because they knew they would be like wives and mothers, and that's what they were gonna do, and they didn't really want to like have a career, like so there wasn't like a need for them to. That's what they told me, but I kind of like wanted to be like, really, is that really what you think? Like, are you sure you don't want to go to school? But I didn't want to like cry because I feel like if I grew up Amish, I would be like, I want to go to high school, and I didn't go to college, but I think I would have wanted to go to high school. I didn't want to go to college, but I think I would have wanted to learn more. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe if that's what you're used to, you wouldn't want to. I'm not sure. Um, but in my book, that's like a big conflict because the main character, who is not Amish, she ends up going to the Amish and staying there, and she has a really hard time accepting that rule about them. Like she doesn't understand why they don't do more school, and then she wanted to go to college to. Ooh, is that my phone? To become. I heard a weird noise. She wanted to go to college to become a teacher, and it could be your phone. I heard like a vibrate.
Fine.
Oh, okay. So that's like a big conflict because I think I would have a hard time with that if I grew up Amish, but I'm not sure. You can't know until you're there. But that's a good question. I don't know if, like, say if someone in Unity went to college, I don't know, or high school, I don't know if they would get in trouble or not. But I should ask.
I don't know. I know they really aren't for higher education.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know what. I guess there's just such a tradition not to go after the eighth grade that you just get used to it and you go out and you do like girls will go and clean houses for a living or work in stores, and men will do carpenter work or factory or anything like that, or they're so used to doing that generation after generation that I don't know what would happen if, say, somebody would go to the bishop and say, I want to go to school to be a doctor.
Yeah.
If they would, I don't know if they would be allowed to or not.
Right.
No.
That's interesting. In one of my books, there's a midwife who decides she wants to go become a nurse at a hospital, and she leaves to do that.
I remember that.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
It's in well, it's in a few books because that character is in a few books, but it happens in Amish Under Fire at the very end, and actually my 5th book in the series is I haven't written it yet, but it's gonna be all about her. She's the main character.
Oh,
but,
good.
Yeah, her name's Anna. So she leaves in order to go to college to become a nurse, but I haven't really thought about that. I think she just wanted to leave to do her own thing in that situation. But I don't know if someone wanted to stay Amish and become a nurse. I don't know what happened, if they would be able to go to college and, get their GED.
It's very interesting. If I ever see any of my Amish relatives, I'll have to ask them about that.
Yeah, I should write that down so I don't forget. That is a really good question. And a lot of these questions I was too scared to ask when I first went, but maybe I will this time around. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or, it is such a small community, I bet they would say no one's ever done it. No one's ever wanted to do it.
Yeah.
That's probably what they're going to say. So it's hard to know. It's really, until someone does it, it's hard to know. Because they are very new. I mean, they're within the past, I think they made that community within the past 10 or 15 years. I'm not sure. It was new when I went. But, and then what was I going to say? Oh, the other thing is, when people are so shocked by that, I usually tell them, they do a lot of trades. They learn different trades, especially the boys, but the girls do too. They, like you said, they work in stores. They have bakeries. One of the families I met owned a bakery, and the girls ran it. They ran the whole thing. They become teachers. They do have careers or jobs. A lot of the times they'll quit though when they get married and have kids. I mean, that's what I
Yes, usually.
But
yeah, usually when they get married, they quit. Unless they don't have kids, and then they'll keep on working, different places.
Yeah. So it's not that they're against women having careers. It's just my thing just beeped, sorry. It's like maybe they just choose. I mean, a lot of my friends do that. It's not necessarily an Amish thing. Once you have kids,
No.
you just kind of cut back on work or you quit. So it's not. I don't think it's necessarily an Amish thing. But that's interesting. So it's probably not a rule. It's just what they decide to do. Maybe I don't know. But maybe I don't know if I wonder if someone would decide to like work part time in a store while they have kids, or I bet people have done that. Well, Amish people have done that. I don't know.
Especially if there's something like my cousin, after her husband died, she started running her own store from out of her like a little shop by her house.
Oh.
She has her own store, and that's how she makes her living.
Wow.
Is through that. Now, for majority at the time, married women with children don't really do anything unless they do like quilting or sell vegetables out of their garden and stuff like that.
I have heard of that.
Or bakery, they might sell bakery, but they usually won't go out and work. They usually do it just stay at home.
Right, because then you can make your own schedule. And you don't have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Like that's what I do. I knew once I had my second baby, I was like, I can't do as much hair as I used to. I can't do as many appointments I used to when I had my first baby. I have a salon in my basement. I would do haircuts all day long with the baby in here. And she'd play, my clients would hold her, once I had my second one, my third, I'm like, no. I would work only at night.
They're all running around. You don't know where they're at.
Yeah. I mean, they were with me. They would be in there with me. But it was really hard once I had two. One would, if one cried, like especially when it was a baby, who was a baby, it was just too hard. So I had to like really change my schedule around. And now I pretty much just work in the summers doing weddings. So for doing it, because my books have really taken off. That's why recently, that was the plan. But yeah, it was hard. I mean, most of my friends, when they had kids, they quit their jobs or they cut back. So that's a good question. I was wondering about that. Maybe I'll do like one more question, and then I think I have to probably put my kids to bed because I was up there and they were like, "Can you put me to bed?" But I wonder if you'd want, maybe we could do a part 2 because there's so many more questions.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, we could break it up.
Yeah.
That's what I did last time. That way you don't have to do 2 hours in a row. We'll do like 1 hour tonight.
Yeah, my eyes are getting tired too. You might have to come put me to bed.
I'm going to read you a story.
Oh, that's cute.
This time of night, man, everyone gets tired, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, that's not a question. Let me find. Oh, this is a really interesting one. Do the Amish read Amish fiction? Like Amish books? Like we do? As far as you know.
Well, yes, they do. They do have a lot of Amish books that they sell at this one Amish restaurant in Middlefield. And then, but they also go to the library and get books out to read, too. They love reading. Most of them, majority of the Amish people do love to read.
Okay. And they read Amish romance? Or no?